Hello and welcome to Roanoke Abyss, a game between two pretty good players, Mozart on the bottom and Obfuscation on top. Likely to be below deer, so Mozart below deer. About 80% chance that's true. I know 99% that's Mozart. Lower probability for Obfuscation, but still pretty high. Cybern on Cybern on a naval map means very strong Tech 1 Navy, very strong Tech 2 Navy, fairly vulnerable to air, especially later on. Against Tech 1 Air, they're actually pretty good, but you never will really want to use Tech 1 Air against Navy unless you're Tech 1 bombing Aeon frigates. It definitely won't happen in this one. So let's see what happens on this map. A lot of teching, a lot of teching, and then a big naval spam. Early air is important. Second air, I think that's the most standard thing for both players. Also a lot of power spam. One of the questions you got to answer to yourself as you scout the enemy base is, where does the ACU go? Very typically the ACU goes to one of the side islands here. You want to grab those as quick as possible. And typically from the bottom, people go to the left. From the top, people go to the right. Not really sure how important that is. Also with the early transport, which will surely come out. People usually grab at least one island. Typically they don't do a zigzag formation. They go on the opposite island of where the ACU goes, and sometimes they try to take an island on one side. So two islands on one side with the same transport is a possibility. These small islands here in the corners, definitely don't want to neglect them. They could provide pretty interesting intel, and they're fairly secure if you have naval control. Although once Wagners come out and drops come out, those could be pretty interesting opportunities. Very annoying opportunities. Keep it a +2 for now. Maybe speed it up later. Oh, early transport from Obfuscation. No interceptor or scout from Dragon, who's also got a transport. So both players, assuming their enemy will not try to kill the transport. So probably counting on their micro working out. Gotta kind of get lucky with that interceptor and get pretty important move orders in on that interceptor to get as much fire on the transport. Of course, this transport, you can also drop it down and repair it if you have the APM to do all that. 3 engineers dropped off here just under 4 minutes, just a bit later from Obfuscation, but he's got 4 engineers. Whether or not that will make a difference, I have no idea. Any teching yet? Yeah, almost a Tech 2 mass extractor for Vladir. And looking at the score, looks like a better build order for Obfuscation. He's also got the ACU running to the side, much faster than Dragon, who is actually looks like he's just going to stay put. A couple more air factors, big air spam. Very important in this on this map. We'll see what these two players will do with their Tech 1 air. I think early on that's the most important thing. Oh, some naval factors coming out. A whole bunch. Looks like a Tech 1 naval spam is a must. It looks like defensive interceptor here, a scout, a couple inties. Looks like a drop. And you can see all the drops slightly faster for Obfuscation. He's slightly faster on his teching as well. Let's actually see how much reclaim they've got so far. 1,000. MagicDragon over 1,000. And he's got that mass in the bank. That's the mass that Vladir has already put into his economy, and you can see how quickly. Yeah, that's another dilemma, I guess. A question: do you build a factory first, then mass extractors, or do you build the mass factors then factory? Probably want to get mass extractors first if you're feeling safe. And this bomber lurking by, looks like there is defense against it, and you do want to punish people on maps like this who don't provide these interceptors. A single bomber can really ruin their day. That advantage with the early transfer can be erased. Looks like that bomber, yep, 80 mass, deposit in the water is going to be even less in terms of reclaim. Yeah, never stop drinking should be the motto for everybody on FAF. Oh, and an early point defense. 250 mass, invested somewhere way in the middle of the map, but that's actually important. I think putting a radar, PD and AA on every single one of those, and in close to naval battles, which are surely coming, get a factory there, get those engineers out and on the wrecks, and that's really the name of the game for naval. If you can deny enemy build capacity. If you can't do that, you gotta win every single battle and not fight where you can't win, and then have engineers there immediately, because the mass you can get from reclaim is far superior to, well, it's free mass, it's superior to anything. Wow, look at all its tech to mass extractors. Some severe, I don't know the proper adjective, but really good power balance. Yeah, MagicDragon being a little more careless with his eco, although it's still very good eco. And everything so far has been better for Bladier. I think quicker transports. Now, look at these raiding frigates. He's got more build capacity, only 2 here so far. And these raiding frigates, they can deny 4 mass extractors, 8 mass extractors on each one of these islands. The middle 4 can be protected against frigates, but the outer 4 cannot. That's why usually when you tech, you gotta take these core mexes first. Actually, this first island, yeah, still 8. And a drop coming in. This will be spotted. It's an interesting move, but there is inties. Perfect placement from Brigadier. Again, it's that's 5 interceptors. They need to be given the order to beat ass. It looks like no. That's the worst thing that could have happened. Do we see a point defense? We already see a lot of build capacity on that island. I think there will be damage done. Oh, and that's where the ACU. Yeah, so good looking drop, a bit of luck, but it's going to be taken care of, although it is denied mass extractors. And you can see a middle, actually, yeah, 3 positions where Obfuscation is building Navy. Also 3 positions where MagicDragon is building Navy. And early on, Obfuscation, huge advantage on the total number. You can see 18 frigates. MagicDragon is only on 6. So bad things coming Mozart's way. Can't really call Bladier eco-whore in this one, although he is really whoring those tech to mass extractors, because he's really outproduced MagicDragon here, although Dragon now catching up with the eco. And Tech 2 Factory Wagner. So I see we're here mid 11. We already got Tech 2 for Bladier. Also a whole bunch of Tech 2 mass extractors, and this already mass capping these. Where is the Tech 2 factory gonna go if we see one in the near future? See these PDs? This could be fairly critical, and this, I think this force can definitely deny these factories. They need to focus in on this torpedo launcher. And Wagner's coming down. Unless PDs go up quick, these Wagners can do a lot of damage. It looks like, yeah, this problem has been solved by Obfuscation. Tech 2 power. Let's see how many Tech 2 P. Oh, already that's the second Tech 2 power. Tech 2 air. So Obfuscation sitting on Tech 2 air. He can choose to either continue to spam Tech 1 inties. I'm gonna have to slow this down. Yeah, it looks like an impending doom for MagicDragon on the right, and on the left he's gonna have to deal with these. And yeah, that's not good. You gotta move in. Micro is more and more important. The more terrain you have, the more nonsense that happens. You gotta really micro. Any Tech 2 Navy? Yeah, it's a question. Do you go defensively Tech 2 Navy, maybe make some Tech 2 subs, which can deny these frigates, or do you go offensively with the Navy and get maybe a couple cruisers in there? Maybe try to establish total control. And this will be, oh, it looks like more numbers for Bladier, but he's far away from home. There'll be reinforcements coming in for Dragon, and if Dragon wins this, it'll leave him a huge reclaim field. So the first big reclaim field of this match. This continues. That's horrible. And you can see Wagners can actually use torpedoes and very slowly kill these frigates. More reinforcements coming. That's a huge battle. A couple raiding frigates here and there for Dragon. And when are we gonna see RAS? I guess that's the question. I don't really see. I think in terms of power, Obfuscation seems to be significantly ahead, going for a 3rd PGen, doing some recycling, doing some chasing, and Tech 2 Navy directly in the middle. This could be a bit dangerous. It is very aggressive, but that could be dangerous. Successful raiding for Dragon. And looks like it could have been a slight strategic mistake here from Obfuscation, maybe a bit too aggressive, denying this naval production, but at the end he didn't deny any mass extractors and left a huge reclamation, which could be the way out for Dragon, who's actually even on eco. And now his biggest problem are these Wagners, which there are point defenses here now, so what they've taken, that's probably all they'll take, otherwise they'll just leave huge wrecks. And that's knowing when to stop building that unit. Here we see first Tech 2 ship for Bladier. I hope that's Bladier. Oh man. And gunships, Tech 2 gunships coming out for Obfuscation. Still no RAS. Let's see for Dragon. Massive Air Force, so that's a lot of interceptors. And yeah, here come Tech 2 subs. So these gunships, as soon as those gunships begin to assault this position, and actually gunships together with Wagners would be a very nice combination. You can use them to deny the engineers and the PDs and then roll through, although that's a lot of PDs. MagicDragon somehow still ahead. So what we've seen is the more aggressive player, as is always the case on maps like this, is doing not as well, doing more poorly. And that's really all about getting that reclamation, although I don't think Dragon has really dipped into that. He's now at 10,000. Obfuscation is 8,000. And a big retreat now for... Oh yeah, those gunships were seen and they're basically a waste. So Obfuscation making some fancy things, maybe things that don't really work. And now he's gonna... Oh, it's gonna be a huge massacre. Yeah, Wagners all by themselves should not be taking on point defenses, although... I don't know where... It looked like I saw an artillery, but that's impossible. Torpedo bombers now for Dragon. I think if Obfuscation made torpedo bombers here, it'd been a lot better, and a mistake. Superior numbers, even more reclamation is now here for Obfuscation. He's also got some infrastructure, and that's also going to die very soon, because yeah, these subs together with frigates, it's going to be total domination. Looks like also that Tech 2 ship has been lost, although engineers for Obfuscation are already on the case, and you got to deny those quick. Wagners getting killed by torpedo bombers, that's very sad. It's like you're sending out troops and then they get bombed before they get to their destination. You know you screwed up. More Wagners are being deposited, and I need Tech 3 mass extractors. I'm sure we'll see that soon. Only a single Tech 2 Pigeon. That's been the difference. Obfuscation really investing more heavily into power. I'm not really sure what he's spending all that power on. Yeah, it looks like it's this. It continues to make gunships. I'm not really sure if that's the wisest choice, especially against Cybern, who have pretty good anti-air on all their Tech 1, Tech 2 ships against yeah, really slow-moving targets. Very good-looking sonar from Obfuscation. MagicDragon does not have that luxury, and you can see just how awesome that is. And that's what you get for taking middle. Obfuscation continues to lose a bunch of mass, though, on this island. I'm not sure if that's the correct price to pay for denying a couple of mass extractors. Dragon, meanwhile, he's got engineers in the field, 16,000 reclamation. And yeah, now we should be seeing Tech 3, maybe air. Well, first we'll see resource allocation, and then we'll see Tech 3 air. Because yeah, at that point, if you can get a couple strats, you can think about killing the enemy. Another... Oh, that fell. Another thing that we might see is experimental. That'd be interesting. And if it's not that, then it's basically all about naval, and that's probably the safest way to go. Is you gotta outproduce your enemy and fight in the correct position. Very big and important air fight. Very even numbers, and I think that the winner is going to be Mozart. That's a huge win. We'll see how Mozart will be able to use his air advantage. He's already got torpedo bombers working. and those will make a big difference. When you got the Tech 2, early Tech 2 naval battles, these torpedo bombers can make a huge difference, taking out a couple destroyers, especially the ones that have been damaged already. You want to finish those off. You can protect them. Well, that's a 26 skill destroyer by kiting against the enemy ship, but you cannot kite against the torpedo bombers, which can pick those out and end them. And yeah, this Tech 2 Navy, you need a lot of APM. Gotta check out which one of your ships is getting targeted and retreat with that one. That will draw in the enemy ships closer to you, and then you gotta go to work together with your frigates. You really gotta catch your enemy napping or not being able to micro, and then you'll win every single time. And the other thing, of course, is don't fight where you can't win. Yeah, it's the naval game is a big pain in the ass. Lots of scouts. Still only Tech 2. More Tech 2 power. I think that means Obfuscation thinking about RAS. He's got to be getting it soon. Dragon catching up with power. He's got a whole bunch of mass also in the bank. Tech 3 mass extractors now for Dragon. Also more power. And big torpedo launcher spam and a cruiser here now over Tech 1 air. I think this air advantage for Dragon is going to be short-lived, as we do see some counterattacks with frigates, some raiding. Haven't seen too many drops here in the back. We do see Tech 2 mass extractors for Dragon. And looks like a naval win now for Obfuscation, but this reclamation field really extends, although it's been mostly cleaned up. Where it started, it sort of nudged itself over to the middle. Yep, see that's sniping of Tech 2 ships. You gotta kill that cruiser to protect your air, and now, oh, another group of inties coming in from Mozart. Let's actually see the waypoints. You can see straight to the battle from the Tech 2. See engineers looking for a reclaim. A 22 kill Barracuda, that's nice. That's a lot of dead frigates. And the raiding party waiting for orders, hiding in the back, and that's what you gotta do on larger maps. Obfuscation has no idea. You can see the placement on the sonar is very nice. It's just reaching in to protect his units. They can always retreat into stealth. Means the enemy doesn't really know exactly what's happening. Although this prime targets for some Tech 1 bombers. Although we do see cruisers, multiple cruisers, gunships standing by, and these gunships are excellent in killing enemy engineers. Kiting using stealth, and Mozart, oh yeah, those torpedo bombers were on the wrong path. I think stealth may have played a bit of a role there, as Mozart continues to win these naval battles. And cruisers, now we see cruisers, and I think those will be very easy to beat for Mozart, using these destroyers as soon as they get in closer range. Much less health, about half the health on a cruiser. As soon as they get in range, they will start dying. And an attack, this is a big mistake now for Obfuscation. He rushed into a stealth field, so both players utilizing stealth. And at that point, it's a question who's got more air to spot the enemy ships. And as soon as you stop spotting your enemy ships, you're going to be getting shot like this. Because these have been spotted by some Tech 1 air, but they're not shooting back, so that's a massacre. Yeah, this way the cruisers will win, if they're the only ones shooting. Oh, nice raid, a Tech 2 mass extractor denied. Still don't see any Tech 3 mass extractors from Obfuscation, which puts Mozart way ahead in the mass. He's already got 10,000 mass. And he's still just spamming Tech 2 power. No Tech 3 or a RAS yet. Dragon though, yeah, it looks like he's thinking about resource allocation, but getting it very slowly, if at all. as yeah, we got to see the reclamation numbers now. 20,000 Dragon on 33, so that's a huge advantage, and that's really that's a massacre right there again. Massacre after massacre, and that's really what you got to do. No reason to lose your units for no reason. Oh, the game sounds just loud. And now a lot of torpedo bombers. Yeah, look at that scout. Good micro, multiple scouts. They'll spot the correct ships and they will turn the tide. And yeah, Tech 3 mass extractors, that's been the big difference. 3 at least here. This is huge. Once Dragon gets RAS and gets Tech 3, either air or land, he can actually think about a spider. He can afford that quite easily. And then a spider can take over islands here pretty quickly. And if you think about it, once you're producing so many ships, although, yeah, if you build a spider and you neglect your navy, you will be at a disadvantage. Looks like, I'm not sure who has more build capacity. See 2 main groups of build capacity, and these are Tech 2 engineers, so you gotta remember that. A little more than twice the build capacity than a Tech 1 engineer. Yeah, it's gonna be huge reclamation again. I wonder if what's the setting to turn off projectiles at a certain distance. I think that would be a pretty good improvement. Yeah, very much a peace treaty here on the left side. I think if these players were better, like maybe Zoc, they might be fighting on both ends simultaneously. But you can see they're putting a lot of micro into this one. Yeah, it looks like, yeah, that's a mistake. Well, who's gonna win this? That's actually, yeah, victory for for Mozart. And it looks like that victory will be erased by a couple torpedo bombers. And now Obfuscation actually doing damage to this island, denying mass extractors. Well, they probably don't want to start shooting there until you completely win your naval battle. And that's a big team of engineers. Yeah, the quicker they work, the more mass you're gonna get. Engineer battles. Torpedo launcher will shift the balance, and yeah, those Tech 2 ships that just won are now just wrecks. And the first RAS is done, which means Obfuscation is going to be a big power advantage. He's got to use that power as soon as possible. Maybe go and Tech 3 air. And not a lot of build capacity on this island. He's got to probably unpause a couple of those factories. Still very even in terms of score. And yeah, these engineers are actually as targets for the enemy ships, and it's definitely an overkill. So they effectively have more health than they do. Yeah, now this is becoming a very strong force that will be very difficult to stop for Obfuscation, especially when Dragon is sitting at such a huge economy. Wouldn't be surprised to see Tech 3 Navy, which I think you can easily afford. Still no RAS. And maybe this Tech 3 Air will make some sort of difference. If Mozart doesn't get RAS and gets his Tech 2 power sniped by a couple strats, that will really ruin his day. Because you really cannot run an economy that's using this much mass on just Tech 1 PGens. And then you'll also lose your stealth, which has been critical in this naval battle. Yeah, it looks like this mass field is now secured. Engineers on the case right away. Dragon, 60,000. Looks like he is getting RAS right now. Obfuscation 51,000, so that 10,000 differential has been pretty constant. And now we're also seeing Tech 3 mask structures going up. This is actually an opportunity to drop this. If you drop this island, it wouldn't be able to defend itself. Gun for Obfuscation. It's an interesting choice. Maybe he's anticipating a battle. A couple overcharges on Tech 2 ships would be nice. And a laser. Okay, so now that's getting interesting. Could he afford it off of just this power though? Looks like he's very slowly affording it. And a laser could do a lot of damage, although that means he's playing with his ACU, which is dangerous. 3 Corsairs for a single Tech 2 mask extractor. Obfuscation cancels the laser. Maybe that was a mistake. He's probably trying to get torpedo instead. And who's got more Tech 2 ships? This area 27. Obfuscation 19. Fairly huge numbers. Dragon getting some more upgrades. Tech 3 now coming out for Mozart. This Tech 3 is paused. As Mozart continues to win these naval battles, and if he can push and take over the middle, I think that could be GG. Oh, and a huge push on the left side as well. Yeah, things looking not so good now for Obfuscation. Mozart being cautious. He probably could just give one move order, but that's okay. He can do that because he's got total domination on the left side. So that means what is that? Transfer trying to get out? Nope, that was the royal family. So yeah, I think this is the beginning of the end for Obfuscation. I don't think this ACU could do much with that torpedo upgrade if that's what he got. So early aggression did not pay off. Those earlier Tech 3 mask extractors were the big difference, unless something crazy happens, because yeah, it's a complete collapse. It just started here and very quickly everything is going wrong. This is the HQ, that's gonna die. This island is in the process of complete elimination, and you can see how far apart Mozart is pulling apart the enemy navy. We'll make it as thin as possible, and it looks like now the ACU is on the move for Obfuscation. That might complicate things, and he's going behind, and he is going to, you see the ACU for Mozart going in the water. That's the safest spot to be. You can choose to be in the water or on land, although maybe it's more safe next to a whole bunch of PD. And we're gonna see a battle here at the end. Good way to end this fight. Although yeah, this total domination on the middle, the HQ is gone. Basically no more naval production for Obfuscation. He's lost an island, and his ACU, we see some ASF. Oh, I see the... Oh, well that's sad. I was about to say, how is he gonna drop off? Yeah. So what did we learn, I guess, from this? Is if you attack first, you're screwed. If you build your first Tech 3 mask extractor ahead of your enemy, you're gonna win. And then naval, it's yeah, control and reclaim. So that's the game. Hopefully people enjoyed it.